But then going to a house of somebody, whether it's for a puja or whether it's for dinner, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Where do you draw the line then? I mean, can you say that, well, social interactions, okay, let's go for a movie?
What is your feeling?
Yeah, I don't think he's prostrating before the BJP or the ideology of the BJP. But yes, I think if you look back, over the years, perhaps he is not averse to their ideology. He may not be a supporter of their ideology. I mean, a supporter in the sense of an active supporter. He may not be that. But he certainly has a tendency to go in the direction of their ideology. That is my opinion.
But Chief Justice of India's image is a lofty image, and people say that one has to live up to those ideals. Do you think Justice Chandrachud, at the fag end of his career, when he's just about to retire, he's hounded by so much of criticism? Has he lived up to that lofty image, the lofty stature of the position of the CJI?
Yeah, you see that is the problem. I think there were very high expectations when he became the Chief Justice of India, right? And he hasn't actually lived up to the reputation that was expected of him. I thought he would do something good for the legal system, but he hasn't delivered. So people tend to feel betrayed, and when they tend to feel betrayed, then they want to take out their anger on him. This is what I think has happened. The expectations were high. He did not live up to those expectations, and so therefore there is this criticism, there is this trolling. Because if every judge, starts thinking in this way, all right, Chief Justices we've got, so many Chief Justices, sitting Chief Justices in the High Courts. Supposing half of them start saying that, listen, we are going to have interviews, we are going to have social interaction, we do what we like. What's going to happen? I mean, people are going to say, what's happened to our judges? What's happened to our judiciary?
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. 50th Chief Justice of India, Justice CJI Chandrachud, is about to retire, and before the retirement, he has been in the news headlines for very many reasons, for very many controversies, and in the eyes of the public perception, he isn't going down well as a very successful Chief Justice of India. Now, yesterday he attended an event of the Indian Express, the popular program called the Adda, where he actually responded to a number of questions which were asked of him. And of course, the much hyped the Ganesh Aarti, which he did with the Prime Minister. And when that question was asked to him, and I'm going to quote what Justice Chandrachud said, he said, the Prime Minister visited my home for a purely private event. It was not a public event. Well, I do feel that there was absolutely nothing wrong, for the simple reason that these are continuing meetings between the judiciary and the executive, even at a social level. So this is what he had to say about the Ganesh Aarti. Then he also said, he was asked if looking back he would have liked to tweak the frame by having other judges or the leader of the opposition. Justice Chandrachud said that that would have made it look like a selection committee. Then he also talked about how he has given bail from A to Z, from Arnab to Zubair. Then he said there are many times when there are vested interest groups, there are pressure groups which want the judiciary to order the verdict in a particular way. And then he defined judicial independence, and he said that if you pronounce a verdict which is in favor of the government, then you're not independent. And he gave an example of the electoral bonds verdict, that it was against the government, so I became independent. Then he said that that is not my definition of judicial independence. So how does one remember Justice D.Y. Chandrachud? And has he will he be seen as a judge who indulged in judicial impropriety? I'm going to talk on all these issues, and a very special guest joins us. Former Supreme Court Judge Justice Madan Lokur is with us this evening. So thank you so much for joining, and it's a real pleasure to have you on the program and have you to speak to us on these particular issues. My first question, of course, is that Justice D.Y. Chandrachud was at the Indian Express Adda program. Now, the very first question is that should Chandrachud have gone to a program like this, given the fact that just about 5 days are left for his retirement, and should he have gone?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all, Neelu, for having me on your show. Yeah, with regard to your question, whether he should have gone, I think it was avoidable. You know, I mean, he's just got 5 days to retire. He could have done it after retirement. The traditional view has been, and it's been like that for I don't know how many 100 years, that judges talk through their judgments, right? They don't go around, discussing things with, one and all. So, if that view is correct, and that view has been followed, I think, by every judge in every country, then he should not have gone there at all, and some of the public statements that he has made should not have been made. You see, there are some exceptions. For example, you have, a law college, right? Or you have a judicial academy. But then these are in-house kind of functions. So there, of course, a judge can go and speak, but not in public. So I don't think it was a good idea for him to have participated in that event yesterday.
When he made a statement, when he in fact did the Ganesh Aarti with the Prime Minister, I think you were traveling at that time, and at that time also I wanted to touch base with you and speak to you on this particular issue. And now that a clarification has been given by Justice Chandrachud, saying that there's nothing wrong, the judiciary and the executive need to interact socially as well. There was nothing wrong. It was indeed a private function for which Prime Minister came. What would you say to a clarification like this? Is he trying to cover up the fault by making a statement which is equally fallacious?
You know, I don't know what he means by social interaction. Going to somebody's house. I mean, would you have social interaction, for example, with the President of India? Just go to her house, to Rashtrapati Bhavan, and hang around over there, have a cup of tea, maybe have dinner, right? Or go to the house of the Home Minister or the Law Minister or somebody, go out together and watch a movie, or go out together watch a play. I don't know what this social interaction means. You know, so really, I don't know. I mean, if somebody thinks that it's okay to hang around with somebody, be pally, be chummy, go out shopping, go out to see movies, go out to see plays. If that is social interaction, and whether that should be done or not, I think it should not be done. It's as simple as that.
But in one of the previous functions, also he said that it's important that the executive and the judiciary they meet each other because their budget is decided by the executive. He said things like this also in the past. So, what would you really say? That is he trying to normalize the interaction between the judiciary and the executive? Is it some kind of a new paradigm shift? Are we going to see in judiciary where meetings like these were considered a strict no-no, and it was outside the boundaries of judicial propriety? So, is he trying to bring out a totally new definition of as to how the judiciary should function?
Yeah, you see, there are different kinds of meetings. Okay, you could have an official meeting, all right? For example, on Constitution Day, for example, all right, the president comes, Earlier, the Prime Minister used to give a speech, and there you meet the Prime Minister, you meet some other political dignitaries, the Law Minister and others. That's okay. I mean, that's a public function, and it's an official function, right? So you're there for a particular purpose. You also have some kind of social functions. For example, a wedding. All right. I know that the Prime Minister has attended the weddings of the children of some judges. Okay, the President has attended, not the present President, but earlier presidents. So there's nothing wrong in that, because it's a public function and it's for a sort of a celebration. Okay. Similarly, you may have a death in the family.
Right.
So, the Prime Minister comes or the Home Minister comes or somebody comes and says that, I want to commiserate with you. That's fine. I mean, that is acceptable. Then you have these, budget kind of functions where you have to discuss something. These are all official functions, and the social functions would be this wedding, a death, or, that kind of a thing.
No,
So
but
that
if you listen to what exactly he said, and
yeah.
in fact, he said this earlier also, and he repeated this yesterday at the program, where he says that the dialogue between the judiciary and the executive, even if some of these exchanges are in social settings, is a routine imperative. Now, I don't know whether this is his individual opinion, whether it's a generally followed norm by the judges. You've been in the Supreme Court. What has been your experience, sir?
Yeah, well, let me put it like this. Supposing I go for a wedding, right, and the law minister comes there or the prime minister comes there. I'm not going to discuss anything official. I've never heard of any judge, any chief justice discussing something official in one of these kind of functions. Okay, so I really don't understand what is meant, when he says that there should be this kind of social interaction. The social interaction is limited, to official events. It is limited to, like I said, weddings, you know. And there, if by chance you may say, "Acha, iska transfer ho gaya," this person has been transferred or not. It may be just a casual sort of a thing, although I think that should not happen. Okay, but then going to a house of somebody, whether it's for a puja or whether it's for dinner, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Where do you draw the line then? I mean, can you say that, well, social interactions, okay, let's go for a movie? You know?
Absolutely. No, this is exactly what is bothering everyone. That in the eyes of the public perception, how is he projecting himself? Now, then he says that the fact of the matter is, as I said, the deals are never cut like this. So please trust us. We are not there to cut deals. Now, why is he trying to give that sort of an explanation that we are not deal cutters? We don't cut deals like this. You must trust. The big question now is, Justice Lokur, that should one trust Justice Chandrachud for whatever he has said, for the manner in which he has projected himself, doing the Ganesh Arti, then saying that, I sought before the God before I wrote the verdict of Ram Janmabhoomi and Babri Masjid? What would you really say, sir?
Yeah, well, I don't know. He has a point of view with which I don't agree. Okay, that's all that I can say on this, communication with God or social interaction. I don't agree with him. That's it. You know, why he has said this, I don't know. I think he's the best person to answer that.
But so many people on the social media have been saying in the past few weeks that it seems, and I'm going to use the word seems, quoting, that it seems like he is prostrating before the ideology of BJP and RSS. Many people have been saying, and many people from the legal circles have also said this. What is your feeling?
Yeah, I don't think he's prostrating before the BJP or the ideology of the BJP. But yes, I think if you look back, over the years, perhaps he is not averse to their ideology. I mean, he may not be a supporter of their ideology. I mean, a supporter in the sense of an active supporter. He may not be that, but he certainly has a tendency to go in the direction of their ideology. That is my opinion. Looking over the years, going back over the years, yeah, I think so.
But Chief Justice of India's image is a lofty image, and people say that one has to live up to those ideals. Do you think Justice Chandrachud, at the fag end of his career, when he's just about to retire, he's hounded by so much of criticism? Has he lived up to that lofty image, the lofty stature of the position of the CJI?
Yeah, you see that is the problem. I think there were very high expectations when he became the Chief Justice of India, right? And he hasn't actually lived up to the reputation that was expected of him. Okay. Now, it was known when he was a judge in the High Court. I mean, not known in that sense, but it was believed that one day he would come to the Supreme Court and then he would also be the Chief Justice of India. That's what a lot of lawyers and judges believe, and that came true. So there were these expectations, and when he hasn't lived up to those expectations, there's a feeling of betrayal. That I trusted this person. I thought he would do this. I thought he would do something good for the judiciary. I thought he would do something good for the legal system. But he hasn't delivered. You know, so people tend to feel betrayed, and when they tend to feel betrayed, then they want to take out their anger on him. This is what I think has happened. The expectations were high. He did not live up to those expectations, and so therefore there is this criticism, there is this trolling.
But as a former Supreme Court judge, as a person who knows Supreme Court in and out, the way things are said and done in the eyes of the public perception, do you think that he should be doing these interviews? Uh, and many people are writing that these damage control interviews will do more harm to him rather than any good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, interviews or the event that he had yesterday, completely out of the question. Okay, when you're a judge, okay, unless, like I said, you're doing it for a specific cause. For example, if there is a function on legal aid, all right, the annual function for the National Legal Services Authority, and there a reporter asks you, one or two questions on your views on legal aid or what's happening. Fine, but to have a full-scale interview, I think is wrong. Okay, so and then to have an interview to justify what you've done, compounds the error, and that's what's been happening over the last couple of days.
But a lot of things have been very disturbing, and people have spoken about it. Say, for example, the statue of the Lady Justice.
Yeah,
Now, the blindfold was removed, and then it was, being projected as if the justice is not blind, and we've removed the blindfold, which was required. And the government also said that these are all remnants of colonial memories, so we need to remove all of that. Uh, how does one take all these things? Though it is very very symbolic, we hardly have any usage of that Lady of Justice statue in everyday operations. But even then, to say that the justice is not blind. Now, what is the kind of message it has really sent out, as far as judiciary is concerned, as far as the people who come to the courts with a lot of hope? What is the kind of message that is sent?
well, you see, it's like this. Why was the statue changed? Okay, we have absolutely no idea. All right, the very same now. All that has been done. There are three main things that seem to have been done to the statue. One is the dress has been changed, so she's now in a sari. Okay, that's fine. You can say that colonial, this, that, and the other, Indianness, and so on. So we are putting her in a sari. That's perfectly okay. But what was the reason for removing the blindfold? Did somebody say at any point of time that, listen, justice is completely blind? You got to see what's happening. And if you got to see what's happening, when you have public interest litigation in the country which tells you what's happening. So blindfold or no blindfold, it made no difference. What about the removal of the sword and substitution of that with the constitution? What was the reason for that? You know, I mean, why go into all this? Why stir up a controversy when there is no need to stir up a controversy? I mean, if you want to have a controversy, fine. There's so many things you can do. You can make all kinds of silly statements and create a controversy. But why do you want to do that?
No, but do you think the Justice Chandrachud is breaking all records of being a controversies child? Because he's deliberately making statements, and day in and day out, as each day is passing by, he is getting into the news headlines for very many wrong reasons, which he could have easily avoided.
Yeah, yeah. You see that I think, like I said earlier, is because he's giving these interviews or speaking out of turn, so to speak. All right. When there is no need for you to give a lecture, you go and give a lecture. All right. Now, like I said, it's fine if you give a lecture in a closed meeting, like a judicial academy or in a law university or something. But if you're going to go around giving public lectures, as if the whole country is the Hyde Park or something, you're bound to, I mean, everybody doesn't think alike. Okay, let's be clear about it. People have different opinions. So if you express a particular opinion, there are persons who will have a different opinion on that. And then, a controversy erupts. So why should anybody want to do that? Frankly, I fail to understand.
Uh, there is no confirmation, there is no evidence to say that he's seeing some greener pastures, and he has some expectations from the government to rehabilitate him. There's a lot of talk on that as well, but I don't want you to comment on that because nobody knows about it till the time he retires and he gets a benefit from the government. Nobody will be able to. Till then, it's all speculation. But what does it, I mean, these kind of things, what he's saying, what does it really indicate? The larger picture of all what he has said in the past few weeks or months, the way he has conducted himself out of the court, especially during the seminars, during his lectures, uh, does it go to show that he's a very, very media savvy person who wants to remain in the headlines, who wishes to be that headline child? What does it show about the
Yeah,
character of Justice Chandrachud?
yeah. You see, there has always been this talk about post-retirement benefits to judges. Okay, so if somebody gets a Rajya Sabha seat or somebody becomes a governor of a state after retirement, then people say, oh, we should have a look at his record in the past to see whether he has been pro-government or not. Okay. Now, what has happened is that the discussion which should have happened after retirement has now happened before retirement. That's why you began your question by saying that there's a lot of talk about greener pastures. So those greener pastures, which normally people discuss after retirement, are being discussed before retirement.
Hmm.
Now, why is that? So yeah, I suppose it's because of this day in and day out interaction with the media. Perhaps media's child or controversy child or whatever. Um, it's certainly not good for the system, because if every judge starts thinking in this way, all right, chief justices of we've got so many chief justices, sitting chief justices in the high courts. Supposing half of them start saying that, listen, we are going to have interviews, we are going to have social interaction, we'll do what we like. What's going to happen? I mean, people are going to say, what's happened to our judges? What's happened to our judiciary? Are we ever going to get justice? So if this is used as a precedent by other judges and chief justices, including judges of the Supreme Court, we are in deep trouble.
But uh, do you think that he is? I mean, of course, he's doing it willfully. And yesterday, when he was asked that, would he not have wanted, the leader of the opposition also to be put in that frame while he was doing the arti along with the prime minister, he willfully said, no, 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 never the leader of the opposition. Otherwise, it would have looked like some selection committee. Now, no, he said those things in a lighter vein. But then, had he chosen to sound neutral, he could have said something else, but then he didn't choose to. So the question is that, does Justice Chandrachud appear to have a soft heart for the BJP, for the RSS, or for its ideology?
Yeah, I think we discussed that a little earlier. He does seem to be, leaning in that direction. You the word used was prostrating. I don't think he's prostrating, but yeah, you he is certainly leaning towards that ideology. But this raises a very larger question, which emanates actually from the judges of the American Supreme Court. They are clearly pro, Republican Party or pro Democratic Party, right? It's accepted. Now, are we going to have a system where judges are pro one political party and other set of judges are pro another political party? You know, are we ready for that? You know, I don't know. It's a very large, or a very deep question that has been raised by his conduct in the recent past.
But do you think that Justice Chandrachud has opened a very dangerous door as far as judiciary is concerned, as far as the democracy is concerned? Because what he's experimenting, what he's trying to project is very, very lethal. It could be like a spurious drug, an
Yeah,
injection of a spurious
yeah,
drug.
it could be. It could be. You see, tomorrow, supposing the Chief Justice of Delhi, or the Chief Justice of Allahabad, I mean, the biggest court in the country, supposing they decide, it's perfectly okay to hang around with, the Chief Minister of UP, right? Let's go out on a holiday somewhere. What's going to happen? So it's a pretty frightening thought if you project it into the future and the immediate future. And if you go on the assumption that maybe half the judges in the country agree with this kind of an ideology or with this kind of a belief that he has, I don't think we're ready for it. It's frankly, as far as I'm concerned, I would get pretty scared. This sort of thing was to happen.
And if Justice Lukur is saying that these things scare you and it's a dangerous thing, I really don't know what to expect out of the judiciary. But given the fact that we do not know yet, there's a lot of speculations as to how he's going to be rehabilitated, whether at all he'll take up some assignment. There's also a talk that he's looking at being the judge of the International Court of Justice. All of these things are being said currently, but what is the kind of example which he has set now for the new breed of judges who would be coming to the Supreme Court, or for that matter, the High Court?
Well, not good, you know. uh, but really, I think I just hope that the new breed of judges continue to believe that we should stay away from the limelight, and let our judgments talk. We don't ever talk. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
And my final question, that he's failed to be a custodian of the Constitution, a custodian of the democracy.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, he has delivered a large number of Constitution bench judgments, There's no doubt about it. Perhaps more than most judges in the recent past. So that's good. I mean, some of these cases have been pending for many years, and they've been decided. That's good. Okay. So I'm not sure whether you could say that he's not been a custodian of the constitution in that sense. But there are other things, gaps that have been left. For example, the follow-up on the Maharashtra Assembly case, or the follow-up on the electoral bonds case, or
True.
the failure to look at the anti-defection law, or the failure to look at the constitutional provisions regarding a money bill. So yeah, there have been some positive developments. There have been some no developments. I won't say negative, but there have been some no developments. So from that point of view, yeah, it's good. But if you're looking at it from the point of view of an administrator, I have my reservations. I don't think the administration has improved in the Supreme Court. And if you're looking at the Chief Justice of India being, the head of the judiciary or the head of the family kind of thing, the administration in the courts, in the high courts, has not improved. So yeah, on the administrative side, I'm quite disappointed.
Yesterday, I was talking to a few lawyers, and they said that 90% of the lawyers in the Supreme Court, in private, do not want to give a farewell to Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Though they would not come on record and say this, but there is a feeling like that. But do you think that one should go that far of not giving a farewell to CJI Chandrachud?
No,
And a lot of letters are being written on this.
no, why not? He should be given a farewell. What's wrong with it? I think he should be given a farewell, certainly.
Okay. Thank you so much, Justice Lokur, for joining on HW News. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Bye.
Stay ahead with our cutting edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.